executive director.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And your goal again is did I understand correctly? $5 million per year.
Yeah.
For the next 5 years.
Well,
So
we want to
25 million?
reach after 5 years, we want to reach a goal of 5 million and sustain that every year afterwards. So that's our goal, is to get up to that amount after 5 years.
So ideally, you'd like $25 million after the next 5 years.
No, we want to grow it from the 2 million that we were talking about, just to use that rounded off number.
Which is what you get now.
Yeah, so on average we get that amount. So at the end of 5 years, putting in place a growth plan, we want to reach 5 million per year so that we could keep raising that amount every year moving forward to sustain that because of the needs of the hospital, basically. Yeah.
Beginning when?
Well, we're going to start putting the plan in place next year. But like I said, by the end of 5 years, hopefully we'll be at that amount.
Cheryl, or maybe Gabe, define the non-traditional campaign you're looking to pursue, because this is a very ambitious goal.
It's very, yeah.
So how do you plan to succeed over that?
Well, it was very successful the way that it was done with the new hospital campaign, but we don't actually want to launch that because, like I said, once you launch a major campaign like that, to be able to sustain giving afterwards is very difficult. So we want to do it in use a similar structure to that, where you have possibly committees out there that will help. It can't be done just with the team that we have and the board that we have. We've got to have other people in the community assisting with this. So that, approaching it from that angle, that would really probably bring us closer to the goal, but there's a lot of other things that need to be put in place. It's really changing the culture of how people think.
That's what I was going to say. You mentioned the term culture of giving. So how do you foster that? How do you nurture that so that it does become a success?
Yeah, and that's a big part of that would be through your communication plan. And it's just drilling it out there, right, of what the needs are at the hospital, and that think of us when you're deciding to make a donation that we're one of your top 3 charities. And we're hoping that that's going to make a big impact doing it that way.
Basically thinking of, is it fair to say you're asking the community to think of us as one big family and for everyone to put something into the pot?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And any gift, would help with this kind of a campaign, because it happened that way with You Have a Stake in the Sioux, and we did the whole stake. We had that slogan and everything with the campaign, something similar to that, but not having such a great impact on the whole community, because we've got other charitable organizations out there fundraising as well. But we really want people to know that we don't have funding from anywhere else. So if the community and the outlying areas don't help with this, we're not going to get the money for equipment needs.
How are you going to go to increase individual donations? You mentioned corporate is at the high end and individuals are kind of at the lower end. How do you kind of balance that?
We're going to have to rely on more individuals in light of what was asked about SR as well, because a lot of the businesses in town have been affected by that, and hopefully there'll be a rebound around that in the next year or two. It's hard to say with the timeline, but because of that, we do have to focus on the individuals more, and hopefully identifying who's assisted us before with our past campaign will be a start, looking at those individuals again and moving forward with that list.
So maybe going back to the issue of communication, how do you enhance that? Social media or online media?
It's going to have to be
sent out with the board members tomorrow.
When we did our last campaign, we weren't using social media or digital fundraising, because we started it back in 2005 till 2007, and then we continued with pledge payments right until after the hospital has been open. But now we have the advantage of using that as well. So I think with Facebook and other things that are out there, we can reach a much bigger target audience too.
Gabe, if I can ask you a question, you mentioned you want to make the foundation one of the top 3 charity choices for people served by the Surrey Hospital. Are you confident that goal is going to be reached, and how do you plan to do that?
Well, it's the hospital is a community hospital, and we have to stop referring to the hospital as the new hospital because it's our hospital now. And as you've heard in the presentation, the equipment needs are great. In excess of probably $50 million over the next 10 years. So the hospital touches us all in one way or another. There isn't a family member that hasn't been touched. So we feel that with that need and the fact that it is a community hospital and a community project, that the community will support it and come on board.
Stands for one piece of equipment mentioned. What are some of the other equipment, or some of the other pieces of equipment you hope to get in this campaign?
Well, there's a whole list. One that's
some of the ones
current,
that first come to mind?
the CT scanner. Back in '85, it was $1 million. The community fundraised, and everyone thought that was a challenge, and it was. Now a CT scanner is double that. It's $1.8 million. So we need the diagnostic equipment to serve patients, and without it, we will be short of specialists. Specialists wants the up-to-date technology to serve the patients.
And you said next year you'll be launching your campaign. When you say next year, like June 1st?
Well, we haven't established an exact date. We do have to put some things in place. Like right now, we're putting together the growth plan for 5 years. So that has to be done with the board and staff first. And then it's like I said, developing that communication strategy and really getting the message out there to the community. Building a case for support really is another big thing, because there's areas of care, like Gabe had said, diagnostic imaging within 5 years, there's a $13 million price tag around all of that. So that's a big part of the $30 million that was mentioned in the presentation. IT needs are on top of that, and we won't be focusing on that as much, but the diagnostic piece is a big one. Equipment for OR, there's equipment hospital-wide that's required, and it's all coming due around the same time.